Tracy Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First of all, can I just make it very, very clear? If this bill fails to go to Select Committee, it is because of one person and one person alone, and that will be Mr. David Seymour. So I ask Mr. David Seymour to contact the whip of the National Party and tell him that he changes his vote, that he will support this bill to Select Committee, and I will tell you why. Because if the National Party would change their view instead of deciding that this was about feeding hungry children with free lunches and listened to Mr. Shearer when he spoke at the beginning, this bill is actually about delivering the New Zealand curriculum. It's about delivering the science curriculum, Mr. Bell. It's about delivering the living world strand of the science curriculum through growing vegetables. It's about delivering the material world science curriculum inside the New Zealand curriculum, which is the chemistry curriculum, through the cooking and the preparation of food. It is about the interaction of children with the earth and also science extension of that. Do they grow better in hydroponics or do they grow better in the earth? There is a huge opportunity here, Mr. Bell, Mr. Zhang, Dr. Zhang. We are both on the edge, Mr. Foster Bell, I do beg your pardon. We are both on the Education and Science Select Committee. This is an opportunity for the Education and Science Select Committee to look at ways to deliver the New Zealand curriculum, the science strand, and at least 2, if not 3 of those strands, in a way that actually continues to benefit on. This is not, and I will give you credit for the food that is being delivered inside schools now. Well done, thank you. This is the long-term plan. That was the short-term plan. Mr. Seymour, are you listening? This is the long-term answer to this issue. Teach children how to grow the food. They will take those lessons home just as our parents had those lessons home. Whether they live in a unit in the middle of Auckland where they can grow vegetables inside flower pots, or whether they live on a quarter-acre section somewhere in Ruatoria, they will take those lessons home. This is the long-term answer, and yet because you are blinded by the title, you will not support it. Mr. Seymour, pick up the phone. This is an opportunity to make a difference, and I urge the National Party to actually think about what Mr. Shearer said. This is the New Zealand curriculum, this is the delivery, and this is your long-term solution. You don't want to keep, beg your pardon, we don't want to keep on having to bring sandwiches into schools. Nobody does. And this is one of the solutions to it. Short-term answer, deliver sandwiches to schools. Long-term answer, teach people to be self-sufficient. Mr. Shearer said it in his contribution. Did nobody listen? Were you blinded by the notes you were given that were wrong by your researchers? Look at the bill. Just because it says food in school providers doesn't mean they're bringing the food in carts. It means it could be a person who has actually been contracted by the school or is under a partial employment contract to the school to set up those gardens. The schools already have some part of it already there. It is very well that those in-school food providers are the people who take those chemistry lessons, who make sure that during the weekends all the materials are there for the children to actually then come and participate in those gardens. It may be that they are the ones who go out to the communities and source the fruit trees so that we can cut down the cost. How do we know what the cost is? How do we know what the cost is? Because this is not about sandwiches. This is about gardens and fruit trees. Mr. Shearer told you when he stood up at the start of it. Listen, for goodness sake, to the contribution. Send it to Select Committee. Give us an opportunity to give you some numbers around it. Give us an opportunity to see how we can make a culture shift inside with the New Zealand curriculum as the basis of it and sort out this problem long term.